Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new Pokemon TCG video. So today the deck that we're actually going to be taking a look at is going to revolve around the Toxicroak EX. We're going to be focusing on using his triple poison attack. So our deck pretty much revolves around him. So we have a lot of supporter type Pokemon. So triple poison allows us to do 30 damage in between turns. So quite nice, but of course by no means enough damage to actually knock out our opponent's Pokemon. So just to help increase the damage, we are going to be running 4 copies of Verbank City Gym. Again, this is pretty much because our deck highly revolves around us being able to poison our opponent's Pokemon. So that's why we're actually going to be running the max number of Verbank City Gyms in this deck, and we're also going to be running a total of 2 Skrelps along with 2 Dragalgaes. So Dragalgae, we're going to be making the most out of his poison barrier ability. Definitely quite nice. It prevents our opponent's poisoned Pokemon from being able to retreat. So the only way that our opponents would actually be able to switch out their Pokemon if our Dragalgae is actually on our bench and we actually have poisoned our opponent's Pokemon is by either using some sort of switch card or by using a Pokemon Center Lady or some sort of Keldeo EX just to try to switch in and out. But believe me, in a lot of cases Dragalgae is definitely very nice, so it's going to be a very nice supporter Pokemon, a supporter type Pokemon in this deck. So we are going to be running 2 copies of him. We're also going to be running some other Pokemon just to try and help us dish out some extra damage. So Dragalgae EX is just to allow us to retreat for we're absolutely free with his Dark Cloak ability, so definitely a nice card. So we are going to be running 1 copy of him, but we don't want to overly rely on our Dragalgae EX, especially say if he does happen to be prized. So we are going to be running a total of 2 copies of Floatstone as well. Again, this is pretty much because our Toxicroak EX, by attaching a muscle band or something like that, we're actually not going to be increasing the damage output of his triple poison attack. So Floatstone is going to be nice in allowing us to switch around our Pokemon, especially again if our Dragalgae EX happens to be benched, or if we have already attached a double colorless energy to him and we don't particularly want to attach another dark energy to him, because I mean that's completely wasteful, and that's where Floatstone comes in. So we are going to be running 2 copies of this in our deck. We're also going to be running Malamar EX. We're going to be focusing on using his Hyper Hypnosis ability. Definitely very nice. So we want to be able to poison our opponent's Pokemon and also put them to sleep. So this is going to be incredibly infuriating. I mean, if our opponent's Pokemon is poisoned and he can't retreat, can't do anything at all, and we also happen to put them to sleep, and our opponent may just be missing a lot of crucial turns. So Malamar EX, definitely a very nice Pokemon. So we are going to be running 2 copies of him in our deck. We're also going to be running 1 Evital. We're going to be focusing on using his Oblivion Wing attack, and this is just to help us retrieve some of our darkness energies. And not to mention that a lot of our Pokemon actually are super weak versus rock type Pokemon. So namely speaking, Donphin, I mean our Dragalgae EX would immediately get 1 hit knocked out by an opponent's Donphin, and so would our Malamar EX. So this is where the Evital comes in handy, as well as the Evital EX, a very solid and powerful Pokemon. So we're going to be running just 1 copy of him in our deck. We're also going to be running 2 Reshurams. The reason for actually running the Reshurams is that we're going to come across, in certain cases, against possibly the worst matchup against this type of deck. So namely what I'm talking about is the Version EX, Genesect EX type of deck. So Reshiram is just incredibly effective against those types of Pokemon. It's going to be able to dish out double the damage. So we are going to be running 2 copies of him in our deck. Maybe you guys want to switch it out with some sort of other fire Pokemon, but I didn't feel like dedicating any fire energies in our deck. So, and I felt like Outrage was definitely nice and quick and easy to power up, so that's why I decided to ultimately go with the Reshiram. But you guys might want to play around with that. But again, I have run across quite a few Version EX, Genesect EX type decks, so I definitely felt like it actually merited us using the Reshiram in our deck. So as our A-Spec card in this deck, we are going to be focusing on using the Dowsing Machine. I felt like Dowsing Machine was more appropriate with respects to this deck as opposed to the Computer Search, but you guys can absolutely play around with that. I felt like, you know, in case our opponent actually does beat us in the Stadium Wars, for example, we can use it to fetch our Verbank City Gem. We can use it to grab any of our important item cards that may have been discarded. So I don't know, you guys want to play around with that, but I ultimately decided to go with the Dowsing Machine. We're also going to be running 1 Escape Rope. I didn't feel like running a switch because we are running a Darkrai EX, and we're also running 2 Floatstones, so I didn't necessarily feel like Switch would have been all that smart of a card to play. I mean, it's pretty much the same effect as our our Pokemon just moving around, so I felt like Escape Rope would be nicer. So we are going to include just one copy of this in our deck. We're also going to be running 3 Hypnotoxic lasers just to dish out some additional poison damage in case our Toxicroak EX happens to be benched, for example, where we haven't had him in our hand just yet. Again, I've already discussed the Verbank City Gym. This allows our Hypnotoxic laser and our Toxicroak EX's poisoning attack to dish out a lot more damage. We are going to be running 2 Starling Megaphones. Again, this is just because we rely quite heavily on our Pokemon's special abilities, and Starling Megaphone helps to prevent Garbodor with its Garbotoxin ability from nullifying our deck. So that's why we're actually running 2 copies of the Starling Megaphone. Some other cards doesn't necessarily merit us discussing it, but I'm just going to briefly go over the number we're actually using. So 4 Ultra Balls, 2 VS Seekers, 2 Colress, 2 Lysanders, 4 N, 4 Junipers, and just 1 Skyla. Again, these cards are very, very self-explanatory. I mean, you guys can absolutely look it up in the Pokemon trading card game directory in case you guys want some more information about these. But again, these are the sort of basic standard supporter cards that any deck pretty much runs, so not really going to go over them. Again, I've already discussed the Floatstone and the Verbank City Gym. Muscle Band, again, is just to help us dish out a little bit of extra damage. Again, you don't want to attach this to your Toxicroak EX. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense because we're only able to use his triple poison attack, as we are running darkness energies in this deck, and we're running a total of 12 energies, 8 of them being darkness and 4 of them being double colorless. So with that being said, guys, let's go right ahead and find ourselves an opponent, and let's just see what this deck is made out of. I mean, as we are finding an opponent though, I don't feel like this is actually a top tier deck. I mean, it definitely does have potential, but I mean, one of the drawbacks to it is that we're never really able to perform those one-hit knockouts, of course, unless our Malamar EX is overloaded with energies, or our Vital EX. But again, the focus of this deck is actually around the Toxicroak EX, and unfortunately triple poison will only be able to do 50 damage in between turns, and that's only if we actually do have the Verbank City Gym. So a little bit of a setup going on, but I feel like it can be quite incredibly annoying to deal with this deck, especially in combination with the Malamar EX. So I definitely feel like we should perform relatively quite nicely. So we are going to actually start off with the Toxicroak EX. I'm probably going to have to N on our turn. Looks like our opponent's actually running a Heatmore deck. So I mean, if I can actually knock him out nice and early, it would be nice. Because yeah, our opponent's deck is overloaded with Fire Energies. I've actually reviewed this deck a while back, but pretty much this is a gambler's deck, so our opponent's going to rely on discarding a lot of Fire Energy. So hopefully if I can actually get rid of that Heatmore nice and early, that would absolutely be nice. I'm definitely going to go and use the Ultra Ball for a set of Pokemon in our hands. So I'm going to go right ahead and discard the Colress and the Lysander, and just grab out a bench Pokemon. I think I'm going to grab out the Scralb just to prevent our opponent's Heatmores from retreating in case our opponent wants to go and do that. I'm going to go right ahead and attach the Floatstone to our Toxicroak EX. Let's go and end for a new set of cards at hand. Unfortunately, nothing that will actually allow us to do anything, so I'm going to go and place the Dragalgae EX and a Toxicroak EX on our bench and attach the Darkness Energy, and then we're going to go right ahead and end our turn. As with respects to where I got the Venusaur sleeve, I just traded for it in the lobby. I traded it in the lobby, and yeah. Okay, so I'm actually gonna go and grab ourselves out our Dragalgae just to be able to use our Pokemon's abilities to the best that we can. I feel like this is actually going to be a short game. If that happens to be the case, we are going to go right ahead and play another game. Oh, and I'm sorry guys, that was quite stupid of me to actually attach the Darkness Energy to our Dragalgae EX, but it's okay. It looks like we're actually able to grab out the double colorless energy, so let's go right ahead and do that. Retreat our Toxicroak EX and poison our opponent's Heatmore. Unfortunately, we don't have the Verbank City Gym, but if our opponent actually doesn't get a bench Pokemon, looks like we're going to be able to win. And you're welcome. So let's see, I feel like this will actually be a short game again, and yes, looks like we're going to be able to win. So let's go right ahead and end our turn and find ourselves another opponent, and looks like we just got a mystery box. So let's see what that is. 25 coins, actually probably my favorite mystery box. The reason being is that I trade a lot, and I always like to set up those 24-hour trades. So I'm actually very, very happy whenever I actually do get the 25 coins. I mean, some people would definitely say that the booster packs are better, or possibly even the tournament tickets, because I mean, eventually when tournaments do come back, just getting those tournament tickets will allow you to win a lot of booster packs, especially if your performance is pretty good with respects to playing in these tournaments. But I definitely do like the 25 coins the most, just because I trade a lot of cards, and I feel like with those 25 trades that I can set up for 24 hours, I can get a lot more out of it as opposed to a single booster pack. Okay, so it looks like our opponent is running a Crobat type deck. Not sure if it's actually going to be somewhat similar to the one that I had uploaded to my channel not all that long ago, but absolutely this deck actually revolves around our opponent getting a lot of Crobats, and it looks like he's actually going to be using the Wobbuffet type combination, and Psychic Assault is going to be able to do a lot of damage, so not exactly the best matchup for us, just given the fact that our Toxicroak EX is super weak to our opponent's Psychic Pokemon. So hopefully we can try and get rid of that Wobbuffet nice and early. Definitely the most threatening Pokemon for us to come across. So I'm absolutely going to use the Ultra Ball to grab out a bench Pokemon. Not actually sure who I should grab. Let's see, Starling Megaphone. Just thinking about which cards I should actually discard. I'm actually going to go right ahead and get rid of both of our Starling Megaphones. Don't particularly see it as being too useful. And let's go right ahead and grab ourselves an Yveltal and perform the one-hit knockout on our opponent's Zubat. And attach the Darkness Energy to him. A Muscle Band. Give the Float Stone to our Toxicroak EX and bring him out, and hopefully I'm actually able to get rid of that other Zubat next turn as well, because I mean, as soon as our opponent can actually get them to evolve into the Crobats, not exactly the greatest situation for us, because I mean, our opponent's deck heavily relies on him being able to evolve his Zubats and just dishing on those extra damage counters. And unfortunately, it looks like our opponent is actually going to get the Golbat. I'm not actually able to knock it out this turn, so that's unfortunate, even if I was to actually lure him out. But it's okay, I can't really do too much about it. And it looks like we're actually able to grab out a Scrub and a Dragalgae. So that's definitely very nice. Hopefully I'll be able to get that going and just start poisoning our opponent's Pokemon. So let's go right ahead and place a Scrub down. I'm going to go and should I use the Ultra Ball? I'm just trying to think right now. I mean, it doesn't really matter if I actually discard this, so let's go right ahead and do that and get rid of that Reshiram. Don't particularly see him as being too useful, and I'm gonna go right ahead and grab out the Yveltal EX and place him down in our bench. Let's go and attack for 50 damage and grab out our Darkness Energy once again and attach it to our bench Yveltal, and with that let's go and end our turn. Reason I'm not actually using our Toxicroak EX is just the fact that we're very weak against our opponent's Psychic Pokemon, so unfortunately there's not much I can really do about that. So we're going to have to try and make the best use out of our other Pokemon. So hopefully I am able to grab out another energy next turn, because our opponent's Wobbuffet would be able to knock out our Yveltal if he actually was able to grab out a Muscle Band, which doesn't actually look like our opponent has at the moment, so that's definitely very nice. And okay, so he does have the Crobat. If he dishes out another 30 damage to our Yveltal, he would be able to knock us out and take a prize card. So I'm going to bring out the Toxicroak EX just for now, just because he does have the Float Stone attachment to him. And hopefully I'm able to grab out the energy, and no, but we do have the Juniper, so that's definitely very nice as well. So let's go right ahead and use the Juniper, and awesome, looks like we're able to grab out an energy. Gonna go right ahead and attach the Darkness Energy to our bench Yveltal EX, retreat our Toxicroak EX, and perform the one-hit knockout to draw a prize card. So that's definitely very nice. Looks like we do have the upper hand at the moment, and hopefully I can knock out that Wobbuffet next turn, but definitely don't foresee our opponent being able to make a comeback unless he repeatedly drags out, for example, our Toxicroak EX, things like that. But okay, looks like he's actually going to use the Headringer, so I'm probably going to have to attach the double colorless energy to our Yveltal EX on my turn, and hopefully get rid of that Crobat. I may use the Skyla for a Hypnotoxic Laser. No, not actually sure. Let's see, what should I actually do? So let's go right ahead and place that Malamar EX down. I'm actually not going to use the end. Doesn't look like our opponent actually has anything particularly useful, and he would actually be able to draw out 5 prize cards. So let's see what I should actually grab out. The Skyla. what I should actually grab out with the Skyla. So Burbank City Gym. Yeah, Burbank City Gym would actually prevent our opponent from using his Kill Dive or his Psychic Assault attack. So I feel like that's the card that I'm actually going to go with right now. So let's go and place that down. Place a double colorless energy to our Vital EX and hit our opponent for, I believe, 100 damage. Not enough to actually knock out our opponent's Crobat EX, but that's absolutely fine. And it looks like our opponent is trying to target out our Malamar EXs. But I'm not actually making use of the Hyper Hypnosis right now. And if I was to, I'd definitely attach it to our other Malamar EX. And it looks like our opponent actually was able to grab out another Dimension Valley. Hits our Evital EX for a mere 30 damage, but we'll be able to perform a one-hit knockout on him. Our opponent did actually just use the Colress, but again, doesn't look like he got anything particularly useful, so we're probably sacrificing a little bit ourselves. But I'm actually going to go and use the Dowsing Machine and grab out a Professor Juniper. I feel like that's the card that I actually want right now. Yes, so that's what we're going to grab. Attach the Floatstone to our Dragalgae in case he does actually happen to get Lysandered or anything like that. And let's go on Juniper for a new set of cards at hand. Okay, should I actually place another Scrap down? Yeah, you know what, I actually think that that's what I'm gonna do. And I'm going to go right ahead and attach the Darkness Energy to our Malamar EX. And why did I actually not get asked if I wanted to use Hyper Hypnosis? Not sure why, actually. Oh, actually the Bite Barricade, alright. Sorry, I completely overlooked the Wobbuffet's special ability. So let's go right ahead and use Evil Ball and draw out another prize card. Definitely looks like things are going in our way. But I mean, unfortunately, we were not really able to use the Toxicroak EX to the best of our abilities. Again, just given the fact that we do have weakness to our opponent's Psychic Pokemon. So definitely would not have been all that wise of a choice. So let's go right ahead and attach another Darkness Energy to our Malamar EX. And should I actually drag out? No, I definitely feel like getting rid of Wobbuffet would be the smartest choice right now. So let's go right ahead and perform another knockout and draw another prize card. Okay, so it looks like we're going to be able to win this turn unless our opponent actually does grab out a bench Pokemon. But I don't know if he actually will be able to, or if he actually has an Ultra Ball, an N, or something like that in his hand. But if that doesn't happen to be the case, it looks like we're going to be able to win this game. I mean, but this deck that we're actually going against is incredibly annoying. So luckily we were able to get rid of that Zubat nice and early and prevent our opponent from actually really doing anything. And I feel like he's probably going to grab out a bench Pokemon. That would absolutely be the smartest choice he could actually do. I mean, a Juniper or something like that would probably be a smart option as well. But I mean, it's risky in that it would guarantee the fact that it wouldn't necessarily guarantee that he would actually be getting a bench Pokemon. So it looks like he does grab out a Juniper. And will he be able to grab out a bench Pokemon? Let's see. And he's going to try and make himself lose. Okay, guys, I guess that's it. That's the video for today. I really hope you guys did enjoy this video. And if you did, please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you very much.